And why would you make yourself too available for somebody when they haven't done anything for you? Because then you become suspicious, right? So an example of this is like a male feminist. Like that creeps me out. Why are you a male feminist? Now I'm suspicious of you, right? Like I haven't done anything for you. You don't know me. And you're like trying to fight my battles that I don't even have. Like that makes me suspicious. There's this guy that lives in my building that won't stop texting me. I'm like, this is too much. Like,
how did he get your number?
Don't even ask. That's another conversation.
All right.
Yeah, that's another conversation. But he invited me on a yacht. Sorry, he's gonna get a chef to cook this big Korean dinner on a yacht, right? I'm not going. I'm not that bloody hungry.
But isn't that like the amazing date that a bunch of women would want to go?
Why would he give that to me? What have I done for him? I don't deserve it yet. What if I'm a piece of shit? What if I'm boring? What if I why would you, because of how I look? Now I'm like, oh, this guy only wants to have sex with me because he doesn't know anything else about me other than the way that I look. What am I doing for you? Everything's about exchange. Like, what am I doing for you?
Now, one of the most controversial things that keeps going around, and a lot of my friends are actually texting me saying, is, Leia, how can you justify Andrew's opinion whereby Andrew says women are my property? Now, are women the property of men? It's a great question. Now, again, I think that statement is hyperbole. I think that it's an exaggeration of a greater sentiment, essentially, in that it's the man's responsibility to provide for her, to lead her, to protect her. That's sort of why he would say women are a man's property. You don't have to be offended by it. It's also not a new concept either. It's why the father walks the woman down the aisle when she gets married. Since the dawn of time, women have been men's property, but not in a negative way, in a way that it's the man's responsibility to always look after her, always to make sure she's okay, she's safe. I think that's beautiful. I think we're trying to be offended by something which actually is a very beautiful concept. In fact, the kind of man that I'm looking for is a man that will also consider me to be his property, because when I'm his property, he's gonna make sure nothing bad happens to his property. The same way a man protects his car, his house, his family, is the same way that I hope that my husband one day will protect me. And I think actually Andrew is doing a great good for women and for feminism. I think Andrew's actually the greatest feminist if you think about it. And I've actually texted Andrew and I told him girls that are 15 years old in 10 years time will have a big thank you to say to Andrew, because the guys that are currently 25 are consuming his content and learning how to be a man. You know, what does it mean to be a man? What does it mean to protect and provide? Forget toxic masculinity. Andrew's actually teaching men how to be men. When these 15-year-olds turn 25 and they're looking at men that are 35, you know, they're gonna have better men to pick from because they've learned from Andrew. To wrap up, I think there's a massive war on masculinity right now. Across media outlets, they're talking about, you know, if a man wants to work out and he's got muscles, it means he's right wing and he's probably gonna be sexist and a misogynist. I mean, what the hell is that? The government, this system, they want you weak. They want men in particular to be weak, fat, and compliant so that they can't fight the tyranny. Because when you're weak, fat, and compliant, addicted to porn and unable to get outside your house and actually be aware of what's going on in the world, then the powers that be have more control. When men are strong, when men are intelligent, when men are entrepreneurs, when men are hitting the gym, that is not good for those who are in charge. And so, like I said earlier, I'm personally very excited about what Andrew's doing. He's empowering men to be better. As a woman, I want a strong man. I want a man that's going to look after me. And only a strong man who knows how to take personal responsibility, somebody that's wise, somebody that's smart, only that kind of man is going to be able to do that. When I was out for dinner with Andrew, there was a homeless woman. She was begging for money. Everybody ignored her. Andrew didn't. Andrew gave her money. And I asked him, why did you give her money? And he said, he will always give a homeless woman money, but never a homeless man. And his reasoning was, a man can do anything to make money, whether it's physical labor, laying bricks, whatever it is, there's always something a man can do. But as a woman gets older, she becomes more fragile and she physically can't. And so he'll always help women more than he'll help men. And that is contrary to the entire narrative that we're hearing about him on social media right now. All Andrew Tate is trying to do is inspire young men to be men. As he mentions in his final message, his most viewed video was how to fight depression. He's empowering young men to take personal responsibility over their mental health.